There's that funky slide guitar music that comes on every Monday through Friday, live at 5 on the Evil FB Network, Rumble, X, YouTube. Check us out. Subscribe, type in IE Newswire Roy Blecker. You'll see my nice, smiling, shining face. And catch all the archives, get all that, critique, all that, lay some comments on the board. We have lots of stuff. Of course, we'll get to the race report in a second. Big Supreme Court decision today on birthright citizenship and all that good stuff. Well, that's coming tomorrow. The voting came today. We thought we were going to get the birthright citizenship. That'll be the big one tomorrow, we think. They usually, after June, they don't come back till October, so they try to get everything out. But we'll give you the big decisions that came out at SCOTUS today. Get to maybe the insurance commissioner. Holy cow, we got some choices there. Ashley Zavala with the union El Presidente and the billionaire's tax that will be on the ballot, and much, much more. But the lead story of the day, a teenage boy sprung into action after a man pushing a shopping cart down the neighborhood in Sherman Oaks. You know, Sherman Oaks used to be, you had to be very upper middle class or better to live in Sherman Oaks. Now, the neighbors are complaining of vagrants, are lighting stuff on fire. Let's see what happens with the CBS report. Hopefully, here we go.
Then the child and his dad started fighting the flames.
Video shows a man setting a fire near two homes overnight.
That was yesterday, but there was no damage and no injuries. It's all thanks to a teenager who jumped into action. CBS LA's Brittany Ehrman is live with video showing the entire thing and concerns now, Brittany, about safety and the homelessness in the neighborhood.
Well, Hunter and Leslie, this teen was in the right place at the right time. He tells me he was having a sleepover. That's the only reason why he was sleeping in the living room, and he was able to hear the fire. Now, family members and neighbors are saying more has to be done to keep them safe. Video caught on a neighbor's security camera shows a person pushing a shopping cart, stopping near bushes in front of a Sherman Oaks home. Moments later, a fire sparks. Within seconds, the flames grow, spreading quickly through the dry brush off Hesby Street.
So here we have a dude pushing a shopping cart, caught on video. You can see there, it looks like he's by the trash can as the fire's erupting or pushing a shopping cart or whatever's out there. As the fire is erupting, he's standing there. Not moments after, it appears from this picture. You can see the flames, you can see the dude with the shopping cart, and we're going to get to most likely what the man's condition was with the shopping cart, according to the neighbors. Here we go.
The person in the video appears to notice the fire and then walk away.
I'm pretty sad, honestly. I don't really know how he did it.
Myron Tukachenko was sleeping on the couch around 3 in the morning when he realized something was wrong.
I heard like crackling and something like burning.
Then the 13-year-old sprang into action.
I was trying to think of the best thing to do, so I thought getting everyone out of the house was the priority.
He woke up his family and got everyone to safety. In the video, you can see them moving their car.
That thing's lit off like a Christmas tree. Not too long after, he must have just jumped up out of there, and thank goodness that teenager was sitting there on the couch. This is like 3 o'clock in the morning.
Cars out the fire's path. Then the child and his dad started fighting the flames.
I was filling up the pots and he was taking them and just making sure the fire wouldn't spread to our house.
Neighbors say the fire came within feet of several homes.
I was horrified because should that young man not have been awakened and called 911 when he did to get the fire department here? Who knows what would have happened?
Penny Johnson has 16 security cameras surrounding her home.
16. In Sherman Oaks, you have to have 16 surveillance cameras around your home. I can remember probably not that long ago. In Sherman Oaks, most people probably didn't even lock their doors most of the time. 16 security cameras?
Is the neighborhood watch captain. She says many residents have grown increasingly concerned about crimes tied to homelessness in the area, including recent incidents of vandalism.
But almost everybody on the block has kids, and they're scared. I just want the city council and the mayor to work together to get this problem solved.
Why don't you quit voting for idiotic, stupid city councils? The Sherman Oaks is in Nithi and Raman's frickin' district. And it's in the city of Los Angeles. So you voted for Karen Bass and Nithi and Raman to burn your frickin' neighborhoods to the ground and have vagrants running up and down the street at 2 or 3 in the morning. No amount of security cameras is going to keep you safe, lady. Why aren't you organizing your neighborhoods in the city of Los Angeles to not vote for stupid people? Vaya caramba.
For this family, what started as a terrifying wake-up call ended with gratitude.
I feel like I'm really lucky that I woke up. I feel like my family's lucky and the neighborhood is.
And neighbors tell me they're gathering video footage to try and figure out who this person is who they believe started the fire. I did reach out to LAFD to try to get more information about what happened here. I'm still waiting on that response. Live in Sherman Oaks tonight, Brittany Erman, CBS LA.
Barring some sort of lottery odds explanation, I think everybody can figure out what the hell was going on. We got to get the only way we're going to get a hold of this vagrant problem and everything else is to get rid of these ridiculous, stupid politicians, especially in these big cities. We got to get you have a choice in LA between communist Karen Bass and ultra-communist Nithya Raman. It's your own damn fault. Get to the race report, then we'll get into the regular news. Ultimate Sprint Car Series was at a very scenic Ventura Raceway in a battle by the beach. Winged and non-winged sprint cars were running in the first USCS winged race ever, I think, and first wing race at Ventura Raceway. But here's the start of the non-wing. Actually, we used to call these sprint cars. If you put a wing on it, it was a super modified, but I'm dating myself on the flip side of 65. Here's Ryan Burnell and Blake Bauer leading them down to the charge of the green flag. Here we go. Here we hopefully go. See the bump and grind? Burnell gave Blake Bauer a good boot there at the start of the race on that. He went on to win. Ryan Burnell did. He won. Caleb Montgomery was second. Blake Bauer wound up third. At the sprint car feature, as we see, here's a picture of all three in victory lane with Ryan Burnell with a big check for the winner's circle on that. In the winged race, first winged race, I think for USCS Series and Ventura Raceway, was a good battle. between Tony Gomes and Dominic Goodson. Here's a little bit of that as they roll. Ah, man, I'm always having trouble. They are coming right down to the line, just barely. I mean, just by not even a car length. Tony Gomes beat Dominic Gooden with Ryan Burnell third. He took the championship, or he ran both winged and non-wing races and was the highest finisher in both of those. So good job there for that. Connor Spear was injured in a crash, was transported, but his family reported he was back home on Sunday, so we wish him a quick and speedy recovery and hope he gets back to his pilot seat. He was running both, he was going to run both of them too in that, but he did suffer a nasty crash in their Sears Point. Shane Van Gisbergen, the road course wizard, was up in wine country in Sonoma, California. Chase Briscoe, sprint car guy from Indiana, was hot on his trail. Here's them coming down to the wire into the famed turn 11 and to the finish line. Here we go.
Opportunity at turn 11.
Briscoe's there. He's closing the gap. Oh, he
Turn
loses
10
a
to
little bit.
11. 19 is dancing. Here's Shane Van Gisbergen into the hairpin.
He's giving it a shot.
Briscoe charges in, can't make the pass. We're racing in wine country, and Shane Van Gisbergen is the top.
Good job there by Shane, who was expected to win. That was his 8th road course win, tying Tony Stewart for all-time, or second on the all-time list, one behind Jeff Gordon. He'll probably break that at the, or tie Jeff, and I imagine he'll be the all-time road course winner. First one to win 6 in a row. His first 6 races, beating Dan Gurney's record at Riverside, who won his first 5 in a row starts at Riverside way back in the day. Lots of interesting stuff going on. But I was proud of Chase Briscoe. He gave old SVG a run for his money. Jesse Gordon won the figure 8 main event at Night of Destruction out at Paris Boulevard. That's the big race report, and we'll get to the rest of the news. The big SCOTUS decision on voting. How's the birthright citizenship going to go? We shall see. That'll be tomorrow. Got the insurance commissioner, the union apparatus, the commie takeover of our big cities, and maybe America if we stand on our hands, and Dr. Kelly victory on the rest of today's show. So, we had the big decision on the voting, and could you possibly, should it be allowed? The Trump administration put the executive order in, sued. Missouri was the test case, not California. So they have 5 days the ballots can come back after the election closes. In a 5-4 decision, the Supreme Court sided with Missouri and said, yeah, it's okay to have 5 days or whatever the states decide. 5 days, 30 days, 6 months. Amy Coney Barrett, John Roberts joined Sotomayor, Ketanji Jackson, and Kagan in that decision. Justice Clarence Thomas, Sam Alito, Brett Kavanaugh, and Neil Gorsuch said, you guys got to be kidding. We're running this as a banana republic. Basically, and this was perfected in California. We seen it, Prop 1 in 2024. Oh, it's barely the bond passes. 50.12%. They keep counting until they get the result they want. Of course, we got the Spencer Pratt versus the two commies in L.A. Spencer Pratt's up ahead on after election voting's closed by a big margin. Then Nithya Raman starts coming up. The reason you got to have a cut-off date on when the ballots come in and they stop is because if you stop, well, these amount of people get to stop. As in California, you don't even have to put a postmark on the envelope. Oh, well, if just the date's on there. If they put the date on there, November 2nd, and it gets here on the 9th, because I think we go 7 days, well, it still counts. It doesn't have to have a U.S. postmark. Oh, we found a box of ballots over here. Oh, we got 30 days to count. We've went through this at Banana Republics. It's going to be the same. Well, the birthright citizenship. So, voter ID. I wonder how you're going to do a mail-in ballot with voter photo ID in California if it passes. That's going to be a real... Maybe we'll de facto do it. Because how are you going to show your photo ID and mail in a ballot? How do you do that? But these elections, and they always seem to go one direction. Why are always the communist candidates or the communist bills always the ones that seem to win in the end, if they're behind? Well, that's why you got to have a cutoff date on the ballots. Whatever it is. That's what Florida has. You know, at November 2nd, 8 o'clock or whatever, like here, that's it. If you're in at 8:01, or like they say, if you're not standing in line, or the ballots are not coming in, whatever it is, it cuts off coming in. That way, whatever the count is at that point, you've got to have a cutoff date. You can't have a cutoff date for some, and then others, well, we got these extra days we can count, and you can scribble in, and you can put a check mark and a squiggly line and a date. Oh, that counts. We'll have to fix this like the Supreme Court. Well, they did say it has to be fixed in Congress. So we can't even get the Save America Act out of there, and that's another travesty. But maybe the photo ID deal in California, at least out here, if that passes in November, will fix some of those ills. Lord knows we got a lot of them to fill. And this is another one coming up. I mean, we got a lot of stuff to do. Stephen Miller, Deputy Chief of Staff. Outside of that, he's got his own legal practice. And they are actively litigating to exclude illegal aliens from the census, which will remove possibly more than a dozen House seats from states like New York and California. Is this what you guys voted for? Exactly. Oh, wrong one. Get the wrong one. There we go. There we got Stephen Miller. This is exactly what we voted for. And for you nattering nabombs of negativism, no, because Trump isn't 111% doing what you want. You know, if Trump wasn't president, you wouldn't have Stephen Miller in there doing this. Of course, you got Mike DeWine. He vetoes the mail-in ballot photo ID bill that passed through the Ohio legislature, a Republican, so-called, this is why I say establishment Republicans are more dangerous than Democrats. You got John Kasich, the former Republican sort of establishment puke governor, saying, whining the same thing. Oh, you can't take the Haitians out. No, you can't. The Supreme Court said Trump can do it. They just ran the numbers. Springfield, Ohio, where the Haitians were there. Remember eating the dogs and the cats. Rents have went up 50%. Home prices up 50%. This is why you can't afford a home. As Milton Friedman said, you cannot have unfettered immigration in a welfare state. It does not work. Now let's pull off all the health care benefits, all the welfare benefits, and everything else like it was prior to the income tax in 1914, and then okay. They're going to have to figure out how to make a living and conform to our society, not tell us what we're going to do for them. And use the government to point a gun at us, take money out of our pockets and give it to them. Robbie Starbuck pointed out, only 13 Democrats out of 259 in Congress put their signature down in opposing socialists. That's 5% of Democrats in Congress. That's House and Senate, I believe. Another way to look at it, 95% of Democrats in Congress refused or opposed to support outright socialism. It's not socialism, it's flat out dictatorial, tyrannical communists. Trump, he didn't say it exactly, but I've said it, and he's backing it up. Don't let the cancer of California spread across the rest of the nation.
We have a country that's just the hottest. It just is so hot. And I'm working really hard to make it even better. We're going to get rid of some of the flaws. We're going to make it even better. But the biggest thing we have to do is we have to stop this horrible thread of cancer that's permeating our country called communism. We have to stop it because that's what it's about. That's what they want to do quietly. And we ask that God will continue to bless the United States of America, and God will bless the United States of America because of people like you. We have a country that's just the hottest. It just is so.
They're not doing it quietly. They're out in your face. Mandami just said, hey, I ain't with the Haitian deal. We're going to ignore the Supreme Court and the law of the land. This is getting to critical mass. This is their promise to America. And see how our America's stronger than our politics. Politics focuses on the false choices between extremes of right and left. We reject them. Too many Americans have been left behind for the last half century of economic growth. Yeah. Everything that they've done, Obamacare, climate change, we're going to give this, we're going to welfare this and subsidy that, has wound up failing. I don't care, California, United States, Enid, Oklahoma, wherever you've tried this, it don't work. But they're going to tug on your heartstrings and promise you free, until you have nothing left. And then your subservient to them. The billionaire's tax, the great Ashley Zavala, had the SEIU head who put this on, and the battle's on. They could, even Newsom's given up. He's, we need a national one now. Well, the reason I don't want the one in California, because they'd move out, but if we put a national one, they can't hide it. See, Trump is right, and that's why he's railed against Gulag Gavin Newsom and all these other yo-yos. Here's Ash with the SEIU union president.
Yes.
Sure, happy to be here. Thank you.
So Governor Gavin Newsom is fighting your wealth tax, but he came out on Friday and pushed for a nationwide tax on billionaires and changes to the federal tax code. What's your response to that?
Well, I would hope that Governor Newsom would remember that he's the governor of the state of California, and 3.5 million people are about to lose health care coverage. Hospitals are closing, clinics are closing, and it's fine to make a proposal for a national conversation. He's obviously running to be the president of the United States, but this is an imminent, huge problem, and we have to deal with it now. And this is not a hypothetical debate. It's also worth noting that the last time the federal government, the U.S. Congress, raised the minimum wage was 17 years ago. So I just don't think it's serious to say we're going to turn this over to the U.S. Congress that hasn't been able to increase the minimum wage of $7.25 in 19 years, but somehow we're going to magically come up with a fair tax system that includes billionaires.
So this clown is a complete, flippin', frickin' stupid moron. $6.5 trillion is the federal budget. $2 trillion out of balance. $355 billion record California budget. Obamacare was going to fix it. What Obamacare didn't fix California with Medi-Cal and Medicaid and no cost for health care to illegals, but they're going to charge us, the rest of the residents, for it. That's going to fix everything. And now that it's collapsing, when they pay, what, darn near 100% of the income taxes coming in, and this Klondike wants to double down on the policies that have failed immensely. How do you deal with that kind of stupid? Well, you do. That's why they want to dumb down education so the people believe that. They want them so stupid that when this guy says free or wage the minimum wage, raising, we're up to $20 frickin' an hour, 25, 30 for healthcare or whatever, $16 an hour, all this stupid stuff that they've done, and we're going backwards. And this guy wants to do what is not working. He wants to do the same thing. He wants to double down on the same thing over and over again.
This is about keeping people on health care coverage in California. The problem is now, and the governor needs to focus on the problem, not focus on his next campaign.
I swear. How about we go to a free market system like we had? Insurance just covered if you had a heart attack or you had a broken leg or something. Cancer. We built the finest healthcare system in the world, and now we're destroying it with stupid frickin' idiots like this. I mean, holy bejesus. Jane Kim is running for insurance commissioner against the guy who's the senator of the Palisades that burnt down. Jane Kim is like with insurance. Oh, let's get the let's make the FAIR plan that's failing. The people are what, almost getting into 2 years, and they can't rebuild their homes in the Palisades or Altadena. Oh, let's make the whole state run on that. Colin Nolan did an interview on his NBC News conference, longest running show in SoCal. Hopefully, here we go.
That frequently doesn't get a lot of attention, but after the Eaton fire, the Palisades fire, what happened in Northern California over the past several years, the fires there, it's very much a high-profile race. That's the one for insurance commissioner. One of the candidates is Jane Kim, a former member of the San Francisco County Board of Supervisors. We had your opponent, Ben Allen, the state senator, on recently. So thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Let me get your assessment of how you think this office has been run recently over the past with the current insurance commissioner. Has it well, I won't put words in your mouth. Has it been adequate to the potential?
Well, the first thing I'll say is that this office was created and approved by the voters of California to be the watchdog for everyday consumers against a $1 trillion industry. It's the only backstop, and there's zero federal oversight of this industry. So this office is incredibly important to making sure insurance is affordable.
No, as she said, no federal involvement at all. So it's 100% on the state of California, run by now Cal Fart Lara. Now this ding dong, who's probably as or stupider than Cal Fart Lara, that's got the whole insurance thing in a mess. And we're going to put her or Ben Allen, which is only slightly better. He represented the people in the Palisades that burnt to the frickin' ground. That's a choice we have. Communist versus communist stupid.
Available and that claims are paid out quickly and fairly. And so one of my biggest critiques of the office the last...
Your party, you and your ilk were in charge to pay out the claims quickly that are not getting paid for the poor people of Pacific Palisades, Altadena, the Paradise Fire up north before, and everything else. In the system you created and the federal government, Trump has nothing to do with it.
4 years is that, or the last 8 years, is that while there has been a push for more availability, it hasn't actually gone to the heart of the problem, which is affordability of insurance.
Right, but the insurance industry will say, listen, this is a high-risk area. This is the entire state. Some have pulled out. What leverage does this office have in making sure those companies do business here at a reasonable rate?
So the risk has grown. We used to have $1 billion storm every 3 to 4 months. We now have one every 3 weeks. This is the national data. And so risk has truly gone up. But so have profits for the insurance industry.
That is about the stupidest statement I've ever heard. Construction costs are through the roof. Everything, payout claims are 90 million times higher in California because our litigious society and the rules that Jane Kim and everyone else in the Democratic, Socialist, Communist cabal have done. That's why insurance companies have said no mas. They've been losing money for 10 plus years in California. Other states have been subsidizing California's insurance. Finally, they're saying no mas. We're done. We're walking away. We can't charge enough because you come like the oil refiners. Every time we turn around, you're hitting us with a new charge or a new requirement or anything else that just jacks the price up. Just like the moron at the unions. Oh, it's minimum wage and all that. No, it isn't. It's your stupid, idiotic, simplistic stuff that you're sticking in the heads, whether you know it or not. You're either stupid or you're lying to the people. Just like Jane Kim or Ben Allen's going to do. They don't know. the people. That's why they want to dumb down the kids. They don't understand economics 101. The free market's going to win in the end. One day, you're going to tax the billionaires, tax the dogs and the cats. Pretty soon there's nothing to tax. Some of this stuff is just the mental stupidity that we're going through is really off the charts. But we shall see. The voter ID thing is two things. Sonia Shaw for superintendent of public instruction. No, they're scared to death she's going to win. That's why Newsom and the legislature are saying, well, we don't need that. We're just taking all the power away from superintendent of public instruction. I wonder how constitutionally they're going to do that, because why would you have an office with absolutely no power? That would be that and the voter ID law. The voter ID law is like I say, how are you going to do mail-in ballots with photo ID? It's going to be a very interesting rock and roll times.
Got about 30 seconds, Roy.
You got it.
Hello, Dr. Kelly. How are you?
It's absolutely insane. As you heard, Dr. Kelly will be on as we
Yes,
MET here in a few minutes. Just have seconds.
Doing okay. Doing okay.
We'll get her thoughts on some of this stuff and much more.
All right, here we go, guys. 10 seconds.
In the rest of today
was created for those who support America. PatriotSwitch.com.
IE Newswire Daily is on the air.
The following is a paid program. Views and claims expressed are those of the program producer and are not endorsed by this station. Opinions expressed are not necessarily those of radio station KMET, its management, employees, or affiliates.
There's that funky slide guitar music that comes on every Monday through Friday, live at 5:30 on the Mighty Met 1490 AM, broadcasting all over the Inland Empire in the Format AM band, joining our vast video audience on the Evil FB Network YouTube. Check us out, subscribe, type in iNewsWire Roy Blecker. You'll see my nice, smiling, shining face. Wow, the 13-year-old saved his house and his neighbors, was sleeping on the couch, woke up, heard something going on. Dude pushing a shopping cart. All of a sudden, the bushes catch on fire. They got the fire out in Sherman Oaks. In Sherman Oaks. And again, it wasn't that long ago. People in Sherman Oaks probably never even locked their houses. Now they got people with 16 cameras out. That's how they got them on camera. But they vote for Nithya Raman as council member and Karen Bass. Took the once great Sherman Oaks, like the rest, lots of Southern California, and flushing it down the toilet and saying, well, we don't know how this happened. So, boy, there's a lot of stuff. The Supreme Court decided, you can just keep rolling. As long as states decide ballots want to keep coming in and you can count them, that's either got to be fixed by Congress or the states will have to deal with that. Birthright citizenship will be coming up tomorrow, we think. We're praying for a miracle. We shall see on that. But as we usually do on a Monday, we have, as I've determined her, the supreme physician in all the world, expert on COVID-19 and just about everything else, Dr. Kelly Victory. Welcome to iNewsWire with Roy.
Hey, Roy, always good to be with you. Lots happening. I'll tell you, it seems to be we're getting into this birthday weekend, if you will, for America's 250th, and it seems like things are really hopping on many fronts.
It is on that. I mean, there's, with all this stuff coming up, Trump coming up with the communist, finally saying, he didn't say California, but he said, hey, the communists take over. You got Mondami saying, hey, I'm going to ignore SCOTUS and the Constitution and the law. I'm going to keep the state Haitians here. We have, and most Democrats now, 2/3, identify as socialists, which really means communist. They want, we're going haywire all over the place, it seems like, especially this is what if you talk about 250 years ago, this is what George Washington, the crew said. They fought against the big cities or the big population areas. They said, if you let them control everything, you ain't gonna like the result. We're looking down the barrel of that 12-gauge shotgun, Dr. Kelly.
No, you are spot on, Roy, and I think anyone who's not paying attention really needs to now. For a long time, I thought that Zoran Mondani, myself, I thought was sort of a one-off, an anomaly. I thought, okay, well, fine, let New York vote for him and then feel the repercussions. Now we have seen not one or two, but quite a number of full-out, what you want to call democratic socialists or communists now being put in position to run for high office. Congress, Senate, mayor, governor, whatever it is. We've got people with Nazi tattoos, people saying that they don't think that we should have borders, defund all the police, get rid of the police, we shouldn't have ICE, all of these things. We are at a tipping point. Benjamin Franklin was prescient when he said, we have a democratic republic if we can keep it. If we can keep it. And we are here at the 250th anniversary of that, which many thought we wouldn't ever reach. And now we are at that tipping point. We could easily lose everything that we have had if we start to put these people in position. If these people, because we have these low information, low education people voting in this country and a bunch of people who shouldn't be voting at all, we have got to wake up and take notice. This is time we are at a civil war point in this country, Roy. We can't allow this to happen. We can't allow 3 or 4 or 5 or 8 more cities to have a Zoran Mondani at the helm. We can't have these people in Congress. We can't, or we will lose the republic.
Not only that, they're in your city councils, your mayors. Everybody looks at, okay, you got Buffoon Bass in L.A., Mondami in New York, Seattle, Chicago, Johnson in Chicago and stuff. Start taking a look at Austin, Texas. 11 Democrats and 1 Democratic Socialist. Democratic mayors in Dallas, San Antonio, Houston. Democratic majorities in that. Tarrant County, which was Fort Worth, was like Orange County, California, red, this is now flipping blue. They've systematically been working this, and they've been working this in the towns down into, and people have not been paying attention to this stuff. I've been trying to wave the red flags, saying, look what's going on here. Trump's picking up on it finally. I hope more people start looking. It's not just in the few pockets. They're catching all points in between New York and L.A., Dr. Kelly.
Exactly, but my point is people need to understand, and I think we need to do a better job, you and I, Roy, people who have the bully pulpit, of explaining to people, yes, I want to have conservatives in positions of power. Yes, I'd like it to be, quote, Republicans. Yes, I think you should vote Republican over Democrat. But let's make the differentiation. There's a difference between Democrats, okay, and these people and Democratic Socialists. These people are communists. This is a big difference. AOC and Bernie Sanders and Zoran Mondani and these crazy people with Nazi tattoos are not the same Democrats as Robert Kennedy, who's a Democrat. There are lots of Democrats out there who I don't happen to, I don't agree with what they do, but they fundamentally still love this country. They respect the Constitution. They want to keep this country. They would never, quote, wipe their hands on the American flag. They would never say get rid of all borders. They would never say, get rid of the police and ICE. We have got to differentiate, Roy, between Democrats and democratic socialists, communists, people who will destroy everything this country was based upon.
Most of your Democratic politicians and most of the people that are following the Democratic Party, even Harry Enn and CNN, 66%, 2/3 of them identify as socialists, which means communists. Most of that, you talk about Thune as the leader of the Senate, Mike DeWine, governor of Ohio, former governor Kasich of Ohio and stuff, for the Haitians. Oh, we can't send them back. Oh, we don't need voter ID. Oh, let the ballots come in. No, we're not going to do that. They're to the left. They're to the left of what would have been Democrats a few years ago. They're the liberal part of it. We just got a few freedom and liberty types left, and we're shrinking fast if it doesn't turn around, Dr. Kelly.
No, I agree, and that's my point. So we are really at it's beyond a tipping point. This is a crisis point, Roy. And right now, I really fear, and I go into this holiday weekend with mixed feelings because I think this may well be the last. We call it, monumental anniversary that this country has. I'm not sure we've got more than one or two left, because in 2028, if we end up with one of these people in the White House, we're done. Then what Benjamin Franklin predicted when he said, it's a great experiment, this Democratic Republic, if you can keep it, he will have been right that you can't keep it because these forces will ultimately take over, and this country is doomed to fail. We are at the highlight of, we have the best economy, the best closed borders, we have the best, seeing what happened with the World Cup, people from all over the world coming here and saying, oh my God, we love America. We get it now. We don't just love your ranch dressing and your wings. We love your freedom. We love your people. We love your open. We love the beauty of this, how clean it is. They loved all of it, and they see the difference. They see what it is to be truly free. And we are about to let that go if we let these crazy people take over.
We need more people who look analytically or free thinking, I think, back or encourage that. This is the first day of my first day on the flip side of 65. So I got a lot of phone calls and everybody starts with that, people in my age or stuff or friends of that, oh, I don't know how I survived all this stuff. And I tell them, well, everybody says that. And that's not how I look at it. I look at it as, man, I want to know how much more stupid-ish I'm going to get away with till I look at the roots of the grass. And that's the difference, is that people get conditioned into doing and thinking the same way and the same thing and come up with the same responses instead of thinking outside. People say, oh, think outside the box. Most people don't. Most people don't look at the world as it is. They look at the world that they want to see or what people tell them to see. We need more people that are looking not what your country can do for you, what you can do for your country. And that's if we're going to save it or we're going to progress forward, that's what I believe we need to do. What say you, Dr. Kelly?
I say 100%. And by the way, for what it's worth, Roy, I beat you to the 65 by a couple of months. So I feel you. I feel you. I'm on the downhill slope, my friend. But I also am of that age, unlike many of the people. I don't know what your listener audience is. I will tell you, if you are under the age of, say, 45, pay attention. Listen to what we are saying. You are about to lose everything that made this country great. This country, I'm not so worried about ending up with another Democrat in the Oval Office. I don't want it, but I don't fear it. Because other Democrats that we've had, we've survived, we've fought through it, we've become better as a nation. But turning this country to socialist, and that, listen to me, people, turning that to socialist. Zoran Mondani is not a Democrat, he's a socialist. Bernie Sanders isn't a Democrat, he's a socialist, a communist. AOC isn't a Democrat, she's a socialist. These people hate this country. They hate what you and I love. And I won't let it happen on my watch. And I will go to my grave fighting for this. We have got to not only educate people, but we have got to do what our forefathers did, which is, risk death, risk, rebellion, risk whatever it is to save this country. It is worth saving. And I want to have another 250 years, Roy. Another after I go.
I concur with that 111%. Shifting gears, and this was stunning. You put this up on the X machine by Nicholas Holscher. COVID shots will go down as one of the history's largest carcinogenic exposures. They increase the risk of 7 major cancers based on 2 studies involving 8.7 million people. New government data show multiple major cancers surged among young Americans during COVID's vaccination campaign. Right there, like you said, if you're under 45, especially, like not only what we're talking about, the COVID con, if that isn't tripping your trigger, I don't know what is, but explain more of this, Dr. Kelly.
Yes, and the issue about the mRNA shots causing cancer, being carcinogenic, causing cancers that had been in remission to recur is not conjecture, Roy. There are mechanism after mechanism after mechanism, probably 18 or 20 of them now, well documented, by which we know this is the case. This isn't a guess. This isn't hyperbole. The reality is the mRNA shots that people got for COVID not only didn't prevent COVID, not only didn't stop its transmission, but they have undermined the immune system of hundreds of millions of Americans and people around the globe. And your immune system is your first line of defense against cancer. We now have seen this huge increase in cancer incidence, an increase in all of a sudden the evidence of what we call, quote, turbo cancers that are occurring in people in whom we've never seen them before. And by that I mean colon cancers in people in their 20s and 30s, advanced lung cancers in non-smokers in their 30s and 40s, aggressive breast cancers that people get diagnosed at stage 4. It's already, by the time you get diagnosed, it's already gone everywhere. Pancreatic cancers, colon cancers. These cancers were never seen before. I've been in medicine 35 plus years. I'd never seen a colon cancer in a 20-year-old. Now they're a dime a dozen. And this is really, I can't say with certainty that the COVID shots were designed to harm people, designed to kill people, designed to decrease the population. I can't say that with certainty. I can tell you that's what they're doing. That's what they are. And I've said from the beginning, don't take one. If you've taken them, don't take another one, and they should be pulled off the market. And truly, if the last thing I do before I hit the grave is to get these off the market and to back up, Robert Kennedy Jr. is correct when he is pulling back all of the funding from Bill Gates and his cronies with regard to developing more of these shots. That is the single best thing that could happen, because they are killing people, and whether they knew it or not, and I have my own suspicions, that is the fact. They are killing people.
That's what, and like what we were talking about earlier, especially those under 45, they're going to bear the brunt of the COVID con, not only in their health, their kids, or, you know, the damage that was done to their futures and education and everything else, and health too. They should be ones leading the revolution against the government and their policies and doing this evil, not joining with them. That's what I can't wrap my head around. Because, you know, as you're in my age bracket, I mean, you grew up with the riots and going on in the 60s and the 70s and all the turmoil and everything and all the tumultuous stuff with that. That stuff people didn't allow that stuff to happen. They would stand up and say, no, we're not doing stupid anymore. It seems like we want to do stupid on steroids, and that's mind-boggling to me, Dr. Kelly.
You know, I wrote, it's funny, years ago, probably 15, I wrote an article for a senator, on behalf of a senator who shall remain nameless, called "Everything I Learned About Being a Democrat, I Learned in Kindergarten." Because the concepts that the Democrats believe in sound great when you are a kindergartner, when you're a 4-year-old. Let's share. Everybody should have some. Don't, bring enough cupcakes for everybody. Nobody should be left out. Everybody should get a trophy. We shouldn't, nobody should be excluded. These are great concepts when you're 4. When you're running a country, when you have an economy to balance, that doesn't make sense. Now we need rules. We need laws. We need to enforce things. We need standards. That's how you run a country. That's how you run a company. That's how you run a relationship. Everybody doesn't get in, and everybody doesn't get a trophy, and everybody doesn't get to participate. It's just not reality. And we need people to wake up and stop acting as if there's that, money just falls off trees. I love this whole, socialist concept of free healthcare, free housing, free transportation, free this, free that. Where's the money coming from? Where's the money coming from, people? And this is, sort of the tough love that needs to happen in this country. We have a bunch of people running around saying things that they can't substantiate, that they can't back up. And we need to take account for that.
If you got that piece, you should repost it. That'd be fascinating, and probably should be reread by a lot more people coming up. Got about a minute left. Tell us, the audience, anything else they should know. Go.
Well, what I'm watching very, very carefully on a daily basis, and somewhat with bated breath, or perhaps, hopefully, is whether or not Rand Paul can actually pull off the Hail Mary pass with regard to Anthony Fauci. Many people, are saying that, the statute of limitations has, passed on him, that he got the Biden auto pen pardon for everything he did before or after or in the future. Like, he got this sort of ridiculous blanket pardon. And Rand Paul seems to believe that that might not be the case, that Anthony Fauci could, in fact, be held accountable for crimes against humanity, which, for God, from his lips to God's ears, should happen. Anthony Fauci absolutely was participant in the greatest harm against Americans and people around the world, probably in our recorded history. He lied and perjured himself over and over. Tulsi Gabbard, God love her, dropped the receipts finally on that. We know and have seen in his own hand, in emails and otherwise, from Anthony Fauci, that he knew exactly where the virus came from, that he spent our taxpayer dollars on it, and that he knew about the harms of the vaccines before they were launched in the public. And if there is a God, and I believe there is, Roy, with all my heart, we will see justice.
Thanks for being on, Dr. Kelly. We'll do this again soon.
Sounds great.
Dr. Kelly Victory saying it only as she can. And yeah, I hope for that. Hoping for a miracle tomorrow on the birthright citizenship. I think it's going to be the same thing like they thought with the voting thing. Maybe it'll be different, but I think it's 4-4. Coney Barrett is going to call it on the birthright citizenship. I don't know if it was a signal, but Clarence Thomas was walking the halls of Congress today. And some reporter asked, well, what are you doing here? And he said, are you here to see the Speaker in the House? He said, heavens no. So I don't know. Maybe he just decided to stroll through Congress. Maybe he had a meeting with somebody. Who knows? They're right next door. They're, within walking distance from the Supreme Court offices over to Congress. So it's not out of the realm of possibility. Maybe he was just having lunch with somebody. Who knows? That'll be the big one because, like you say, Congress or Supreme Court usually goes out after tomorrow. They don't usually reconvene till back in October. So we'll pray for a miracle. Pray for Rand Paul or somebody or Congress to turn the tables on Anthony Fauci. Challenge it. Hey, you gotta throw the Hail Mary pass. Challenge the pardons. What have you got to lose? He's free as a bird right now. If you don't launch the pass, you're never gonna see. You don't even have a chance to win. So go for it. Hopefully we can cure some of this. Hopefully we'll stem this communist tide that is sweeping across the United States of America. Told you what, Chinese with TikTok. They said, Mao said it, ping pong, we're going to take you over without firing a shot. Danged if it doesn't like they're pulling it off. And that's not going to bode well for the United States of America. Like Dr. Kelly said, I hope we can add another 250 years of freedom and liberty of the greatest country in the history of the world. That'll be coming up on Saturday. And I hope people take the breathtaking celebrations that's going on, especially the one in D.C., going to be the biggest fireworks show in epic history of the world. But we got a fight on our hands, and we better knuckle down and get after it. Because you're not gonna like what happens after the promises of Buffoon Bass or Maniac Mandami or Out of Her Mind AOC or BS Bernie Sanders or the crew. Or John Thune, or Mike DeWine, or that whole crew, or the Bushes, or the Clintons, and the whole crew. You're not going to like it. But we shall see. Got to play the hand you're dealt, not the one you wish. Royisms 101. That'll do it for this week, this day. As we usually say at this time. Mandatory, you're back here in 23 hours. Why? You're the best darn show in the whole wide world. Till then, see ya.
The preceding was a paid program.
All right, Roy. Yeah, hopefully, Islamist socialism is spreading rapidly in this country. Look at the marches in Dearborn this weekend.
It's
good Lord, man.
They've been building it slowly, but man, it's starting to uptake. Now they're uprooting in like the bigger medium towns now. They've been working at it, but people haven't been paying attention.
Yeah, yeah. New York is probably the first one to fall, really fall. I don't know. We'll see if this whole state follows them.
Yes, we will.
All right, Roy, take it easy.
We'll see you.
Bye.